Hello. Welcome back to the 93 CBR 900RR in the garage Saga. And I say Saga because if you're into projects, you know, just like any other project, every project, there's ups and downs, challenges, struggles. And yeah, so I have another challenge on the bike. Last time, if you saw the video, my most recent video was me riding this bike. And now it's not unrideable, but it has a leak from the main shaft coming out of the transmission where the sprocket attaches to. Let me show you. So so one of the problems with this bike when I got it, $1,000 bike, just to get you up to speed, it was a $1,000 bike. I bought off Craigslist, didn't run, so I got it running, and then proceeded to clean the rest of it up. There was a lot of grit. It was really dirty in here. And usually what that means is that this shaft seal is leaking and causing all the grit to get trapped in there. Sometimes that can be from the chain, but it's usually not as much. I mean, when it's really bad, like this one was, it's usually from that seal leaking, and then all the grit and even more grit starts to get caught in there from bouncing up from the road and stuff like that. So I knew I was gonna have to change that seal out. So I bought a new seal and remove the seal. Now, when I removed the seal, I noticed that it was very tough to remove. And the reason why is because if you see here, this is a new Honda OEM seal that I have here. And it has a little lip on it. Now that little lip, I don't know if you can see it in the video. Will it focus? Will it focus? Let's see, kinda. Maybe it'll focus now. Well, anyway, there's a lip in there. Now, in my experience with motorcycles, I'm not used to that. A Harley has that seal, and it's kept in by a plate, and the majority of those seals I've changed out have been on Harleys, and they don't have the lip. You can just take it out and replace it. Now that's a really nice design. This is not designed that way, and from the research I've done, they state it's not designed that way because this is a pressurized gearbox. Now, I know the Harley is not. But so for that, they have that retainer lip like holds the seal in there. So what I did was I was like, okay, $1,000 bike, I can buy this engine on eBay for $1,000. To rebuild it is probably more than that. So in order to get that seal in, if you look there in the manual, there's no instructions on how to remove it. So what I did was decide, okay, well, I'm gonna put a new seal in there. So I took the measurements, ordered a new seal, put it in, and used a little bit of adhesive. I used some light adhesive. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was silicone based. And then I made a plate to go over it. Now the plate, let me show you. The plate itself is this thing, and it just bolts into that area down there. And the chain clears it, and that I felt would hold this. If the seal did try to back out, that would kind of hold it in place. I don't know how well, but I just figured that would be better safe than sorry. So anyway, in riding it around, I did a longer ride, the longest ride I've done on it, and noticed that the seal was leaking because there was a little puddle of oil under the bike. So I decided I've got to take the chain off and double check where that leak, and sure enough, it was coming from the outside of the seal. So I'm gonna try another seal, and I'm gonna try some black Permatex adhesive. This stuff right here. See, focus. Someday I'll figure out how to better focus this on the fly. Okay, yeah, anyway, Permatex black silicone adhesive. I'm gonna try that. I figure I'll just keep experimenting with stuff, and at the end of the day, if it still doesn't seal, I think with the plate, it's not gonna come out so far as to create oil to go all over because from the research I did online, there's guys that have had the same issue, and those guys were worried, and they were stating in the threads that I read that were worried about the seal coming out and then oil getting all over the rear tire. Well, I think that plate that I made will keep that from happening. So that's like my safety. Now, if it seals it and it doesn't leak, I mean, and it keeps the oil in, then that's win, you know, that's success. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm hoping it does, because, you know, I really don't want to split the case. I don't want to take the engine. The engine runs really good, and I don't want to take it out of the frame and rebuild it. You know, unless I ultimately have to. So if I have this bike and it still keeps leaking, I know that it's not supposed to be leaking, because it's a Honda, not a Harley, for one, and two, that seal shouldn't leak. Then maybe eventually I'll split the case, I'll rebuild the engine, and I'll spend the money on it then. I don't want to spend the money on it now, so that's my reasoning. So you can watch this video and use me as a guinea pig. I'll sacrifice myself and use myself as the guinea pig. And other than that, this bike runs amazing. And the times that I've ridden it, it really does run really good, which again is why I don't want to split the case. And my next step, if I can get that seal to seal, then my next step is going to be, there's a company in the UK that makes a kit so that you can put like risers, top yoke, and risers. You can buy a kit. It comes with the extended brake line, and I think everything else will stretch up to the point. But you can put, like, essentially you run dirt bike bars on. And that's what I want to do. I want to run a dirt bike, because you know what? I'm only 35, but in my opinion, I'm too old, and I'm not on a racetrack, to ride at this riding position. I think that's, I don't need to ride at this riding position. I think I would be more comfortable with an upright riding position, like a dirt bike or supermoto or something. I really like a supermoto riding position, because you can stand up and use your legs as a second suspension, and your center of gravity is not all on the front end. And for riding on the street, I don't think that the optimal riding position is to ride with your weight on the front end. That's a racing riding position. And I don't want to take this bike to the track. I want to ride on the street. And then after that project, I'm going to redo the subframe with a tubular subframe. That's the plan. That is the plan. Now that of course that might get changed, because sometimes I sell things, but or if somebody offers me money for the bike because they really want the bike, and before I do all that, I'm gonna have to sell it, because everything is for sale, except for my truck. Other than that, everything's for sale. Yeah. Anyway, enough wasting your time. That's pretty much this point that I'm at now, and then I will do another video to update whether this next fixed it or not. So I'll do like if I do another riding video after this, that means I've fixed it and tested it out and it works. So there you go. Yeah, so stay tuned, and hopefully this time it's a success.